Hello, welcome back to the Wolf Den. I'm the Wolf,
I'm Daddy-O.
and this is it. This is episode 12.
Our Avenger special.
That's right, as promised. This episode is going to be solely Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame.
And possibly mention some of the other Avengers movies.
Yeah, we might. But the sole focus is on Infinity War and Endgame. We'll talk about like some of the callbacks and stuff.
Then like our other features like Versus and Wrestling will return next episode.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some cool stuff to talk about in wrestling too. So
Yeah. But let's go ahead and talk about Infinity War first.
because we watched that last night.
And it came first, but yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Awesome.
I like a lot of the build up. Think it's interesting that the movie starts and Thanos already has one of the Infinity Stones. So basically it starts you out. You know that it's a downhill struggle. They're going to be losing because Thanos already has one.
Yeah, that means it's an uphill struggle. It means they're going to have difficulty.
What'd I say? Downhill slope?
Downhill struggle. It's an uphill struggle.
Well,
going down is easy. You just slide.
I meant to say like a downward slope or spiral because that way, whatever. Point is, you pretty much know that they're going to lose, but you hold on to that small hope that they are going to win. Of course, until the end when the snap happens. But leading up to that, pretty much knowing they're going to lose, the ride still there is still good.
How he's going to get the rest of the stones and everything. That's awesome. And all the stuff that's been going on in between the movies. Apparently, time continues. They're continuing to do things in an interim that we don't see. The movie just picks up at a certain point. Like it's 2 years that Scarlet Witch and Vision are together,
right? Because it's after they leave. It's after Civil War, pretty much is where it's what they're doing.
And then they're kind of in their 2 years. They've been in Scotland, hanging out and getting together on the DL.
Right.
I forgot what some of the other ones were doing in the time, but I mean, I'm just saying that in between all the movies, time passes for us because they're writing, they're acting, they're getting the thing together. But in their universe, in the movie universe, time is going past, and they're continuing on to do things. See, that's something I was thinking about was, like what are the people up to? In the time thing, and like they show us about Scarlet Witch and Vision, but I brought it up to you that when backup arrives, Captain and Natasha and Rhodey.
No, it's Sam.
Sam are wearing different uniforms. They're wearing these dark outfits. So in the interim time after Civil War, they're still considered fugitives of the law. But what were they doing?
Right.
See, there's another movie in there.
There is another movie.
Because what were they doing for a couple of years? What kind of missions were they operating on? Obviously, they didn't have any ring rust when they came to fight.
Right.
Those.
I don't know what their
creatures.
names are, but
yeah. Well, isn't that one? Aren't they brother and sister?
I don't think so. Well, so technically their name. Well, I only know Ebony Maw's name. I know there's like people who are nerdier than I am that are like, oh, well, it's this person and this. I honestly don't know.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, I don't know what their names are. But they're all children of Thanos. That's the.
Well, he calls everybody children of Thanos, even the people he kills.
Well, no, but that's their group name is the Children of Thanos. Is those people plus Nebula and Gamora.
And then, now does he consider Ronan the accuser, a child of Thanos?
No. Because, I mean, when in his interactions, he calls him boy and he talks down to him and everything.
He talks down to Gamora.
Yeah, but it's different if you look at it. Look at his interactions with Gamora, especially.
Or I meant Nebula.
Oh, well, he doesn't really like Nebula. But you can see, like, the difference when they're in, well, I guess it's the throne room? I don't know, on his ship.
Yeah.
And you see the difference. And then he also talks about how, like, you're strong because of me, you're something else because of me. I don't remember what he says, but he's like, but I never taught you to lie, like, type deal.
So anyway, those 4, was it 4?
Yeah, it's the 4.
That children of Thanos that came to it they're trying to get the stone out of Vision's head.
Chrome Dome.
Like I was saying, then when Captain and Falcon and
Black Widow
all show up, like I said, what were they doing for those 2 years? I'd like to know that. Now we know in switching over to, I think we can talk about the movie simultaneously.
I think so, and
go back and forth. In Endgame, we know that Clint became Ronin, and he was he wasn't just specifically in Japan like I was thinking, because Rhodey's in Mexico.
Yeah, he talks about that he kills the cartel members.
Yeah.
So he's been going all over the place.
He's kind of globetrotting. So it's interesting to know what were they doing. Well, actually, no, I'm mistaken, because he doesn't become Ronin until after the snap.
Yeah, so he's just enjoying retirement on the farm.
Is he though?
Well, from
the opening thing,
that's what he's been doing. He's just spending time with his family. Because remember, he's on house arrest, the same as Scott, because they touch upon that Ant-Man and the Wasp is talk about them being on house arrest. So yeah, that's what he's been up to.
Okay. Overall, the whole story, it's funny that they made the focus of it to me, they made the focus of it to be Iron Man's story from 2008 till the end. But every movie that intertwined, the characters had their own presence. I don't see it as just Tony's story.
Right.
I see it as everyone's, because like he's not even the leader of the Avengers. He I don't know, co-leader or whatever, but
right, because they
always say Captain America is the Avenger, the leader of the Avengers, and even though Tony gives them a lot of direction of what they should do and what they shouldn't do, he's not the main guy, but he is the main guy when you go overall and go back to 2008 and go through his movies. And what else? I'll just talk about some of the cool scenes that we liked. You can talk about you were talking about the callbacks, which was cool.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens in both movies, and we watched these back to back mostly. That would have been like 5 hours worth of movie watching that we just split up over 2 days. So I'm trying to get my thoughts clear. There was one thing in Endgame that I kind of thought would have been like a bit nicer, but it was towards the end when T'Challa or Black Panther is trying to get the Infinity Gauntlet from, or it's not the actual Infinity Gauntlet.
No, it is,
but it's the Nano Gauntlet that he's trying to get it from Hawkeye, and he calls him Clint, right? Because in Civil War he's like, "Oh, we haven't met yet. My name's Clint." He's like, "I don't care." I was kind of hoping, like when I first saw the movie, I was really hoping that Black Panther would have been like, "Oh, my name is T'Challa," and then give me the gauntlet. But he just says, "Give it to me."
And Clint say, "I don't care."
No, that's not the point. The point was supposed to be that it's like he just says, "I'm T'Challa," because they've pretty much moved past whatever little strife they had. But it didn't happen.
Now there are problems, as with any movie, because they're not all perfect. We did have some issues. You brought up that one with or at least 2.
Well, actually, I can think of 3 now.
I've got one that's probably one of yours, but
that they all stem in Infinity War, and 2 of them have to do with Thor. Do all 3 of them have to do with? No, 2 of them have to do with Thor. The first one is when Thor wakes up on the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. And he's breaking down where the Infinity Stones are. He tells him that the Time and Mind Stone are safe on Earth with the Avengers. So, to me, okay, he knows that the Mind Stone is in Vision's head because he was directly involved with that. But how does he know Doctor Strange has the Time Stone? How does he even know that Doctor Strange is...
Doctor Strange?
Well, he did meet him briefly in Ragnarok. But not long enough for him to learn that, Doctor Strange is the keeper of the Time Stone, and he's with the Avengers. So to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then the other thing comes at the end of the movie, in which Thor shows up in Wakanda, and he helps them, turns the tide and helps them basically win the battle, even though they technically lose the war. How does he know that Wakanda is a place? How does he know to go to Wakanda? Because not even the only Avenger, well, I guess 2 Avengers that know are Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or actually, as they called them, the White Wolf. Those are the only 2 people from the Avengers that know about Wakanda because it's all secret. I mean, even though T'Challa opens Wakanda to the public, he still has it not barricaded, but it's the illusion of the mountain is still there. But then Thor's able to open the Bifrost to a place he's probably never heard of, and he's able just to show up there. So to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the ones you brought up while watching Endgame. Is about Nebula time traveling.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm still talking about Infinity War.
No, we were talking about things.
Oh, okay. Well,
things that we had issues with, and I said stuff that we just brought up a little while ago. So that's where I thought you were going.
And then I had one more from Infinity War. The whole time Thanos is obsessed with balance, and he only... he wants to wipe out half the universe because he only wipes out half the population. Half. And when they go to, I'm going to say it wrong, Nevedalier, I think I said it wrong. But where they go to where Dimitri the dwarf is to get Stormbreaker, Dimitri tells him that there were 300 dwarves on the rig, and then Thanos killed all of them except for Dimitri, but half would have been 150. So why in that instance did Thanos forget his obsession with balancing and just murdered all of them?
Maybe that was just on the rig. They all, because look at how come it was everybody but Clint and his family.
No,
see, maybe wherever the dwarves live, whatever planet they're at, those are the ones. There's some there,
right?
But the ones that work at the forgery, most of them got wiped out except for him, because, like I said, look at Clint. He lost his entire family except for him. How is that half?
Well, they're not Jeremy Renner.
Because they were kids.
Yeah.
There's only half.
Yeah, they're not Jeremy Renner. That's how that works. Like when you watch.
But Linda Cardellini, she's a pretty big name. She's Velma.
Yeah, but if you watch End of Watch, Michael Pena's character dies because he's not Jake Gyllenhaal. So
yeah.
But anyways,
one not an issue to me, but it's like from Endgame we were just talking about was the Me Too moment, women's power.
Oh,
where all the women heroes are together.
It's a cool scene. I understand why it's there.
Right.
But
it's not necessary. Why
is it rallied behind Captain Marvel? That's the thing I don't like. If it was any other female superhero that didn't just kamikaze through Thanos' ship and blow it up by herself.
No, you can't say any other, because also I was going to bring up is Scarlet Witch. Those two are the most powerful of all the Avengers.
Oh, she was about to take out Thanos.
Yeah, she was pulling him apart.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, rain fire. And it's like, because he's like, oh, this chick's going to take me out.
So, yeah, both of them are the two most powerful Avengers, bar none.
Right.
So if it wasn't for them two, then you can have the rally of all the women heroes.
Because, like, in my mind, because I've seen Captain Marvel, and I know a bit about her power set abilities and stuff, and it's like, I know that she's extremely powerful, and if you just watch the two movies that she's in, she's, like, uber powerful, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, how are you going to get through all of that? And she just, like, uses her photon blast or proton blast.
She's got help.
Just, like,
she don't need help.
Yeah, she doesn't need no help. She doesn't need it. It's just, like... Then, like, later she goes toe-to-toe with Thanos, and he has all the Infinity Stones, and so that makes him as incredibly powerful, and he still can't, like, get through her force field.
Yeah, and she's basically pulling the glove off of him.
Yeah, the only reason he's able to do it is he takes the Power Stone, puts it in his hand, and punches her. So why it's rallied around Captain Marvel, I don't know.
Yeah. But it was cool to see. It's cool to see them. You get that shot of everybody together, Valkyrie and all that. Mm-hmm. And so that's cool. It's just like, I guess they had to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
They had to have that scene somewhere, so that was as good a place as they could figure out. They just didn't figure it right, in our opinion.
Mm-hmm. I don't get us wrong. We don't dislike the scene. Excuse me. We don't dislike the scene. We don't see it as unnecessary. We just don't get why it's by Captain Marvel, who could have single-handedly taken out all of those Chitauri by herself. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that is the thing. Another a problem I did have with Nebula. So, when they're on Morag and they get the Infinity Stone, they get the Power Stone. They're getting ready to boogie out of there, and 2014 Thanos and Ebony Maw, that's the only one I know, by the way, they access her memories, and then so Nebula from 2023 knows that Thanos knows, so she tries to warn people, but then his ship shows up at Morag and starts beaming her up, and then, that sets up the later conflict of Thanos being able to travel to 2023 in the future. But why didn't she just time travel out of there? Why didn't she just go,
Maybe the tractor beam was too
strong?
Too strong?
I don't know. Like, I don't get why she didn't just, like, shrink down.
At first she couldn't because they were accessing her memory, and that froze the computer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, froze her temporarily.
But once they were done with that, why didn't she activate her little GPS thing and go?
Yeah, because she sunk up with Rhodey, so it's not like she didn't have coordinates. She was just ready to hit the button, and then poof. Also, if you're going to use the argument of, well, she needed to input the coordinates, that's why she didn't leave, I would disagree, because 2014 Nebula just takes the thing and travels to the future anyways. Mm-hmm. So that argument also doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, the one glaring thing that was brought up by a lot of people, and I watch it again and it still makes sense in Endgame, is if they really wanted to kill Thanos, why didn't Ant-Man just run in his ear and then make himself Giant Man? He would have ripped Thanos right apart. Done. Movie's over. Roll credits, 13 minutes worth.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right. It is like 13 minutes worth of credit. So I've seen Avengers Endgame quite a few times. And
I think I've seen it. That was the third time, I think.
That may have been the fifth time I've seen it. I saw it like 3 times in one weekend. So, no, what was I saying?
We were talking about the
right. So I've seen that movie enough times that when I know it's 3 hours and 1 minute, and then I pulled it up on Disney Plus to watch, and it was 3 hours and 3 minutes, and I was like, where'd those 2 minutes come from? I was thinking maybe that they added in one of the deleted scenes. Nope, it's just 13 minutes worth of credits.
Yeah, because we paused it at the time when the credits started to roll. They've been on for maybe a few seconds, and we wanted to see how much time was left. It was 13 minutes and 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was...
yeah. But anyway, yeah. Why didn't Ant-Man just run in Thanos' ear and then turn into Giant Man, rip him apart, and they would have been done with it?
Could have been. I don't know.
That was one of the possibilities.
Because it wouldn't have led into Tony's sacrifice.
Yeah, and seeing they can make Iron Man 4.
Which is a thing. In every Avengers movie, Tony is ready to lay down his life to save the world, and that goes, and it's kind of going against what Captain America said. Is like, you're not the kind of guy to make the sacrifice play. You wouldn't lay over the wire to let somebody crawl over you, and so of course,
I'll just snip the wire.
Yeah, he cuts the wire, but. The first Avengers movie, he's ready to die by taking the nuke out. He doesn't know if he's going to make it back. In Age of Ultron, he's convinced that when he blows up the chunk of Sokovia, that it's, the resulting energy is going to kill him, but he's ready to do it. Infinity War, he's taking on Thanos alone, and I'm sure he has no... dreams, I can't think of the right word, ambitions or whatever, hopes of winning, and he gets stabbed, and even when Strange trades Tony's life for the stone, he's like, why would you do that? He's ready to die. And then of course in Endgame, he takes the stones and snaps his fingers to die.
Because I am Iron Man.
Yeah, but he was, in every single Avengers movie, he is ready to lay down his life.
Well, it was only Cap's opinion, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Captain was wrong.
Yeah. But, all together, both of those movies, and they do flow. Before, I didn't think they really did. It's like you watch Infinity War, and then you wait a year to watch Endgame. Or longer, actually.
I thought they were only 6 months apart.
No. But you wait for Endgame to come out, and it's like the opening where they're like, okay, well, we're going to go get this dude, and all of that. And then it skips 5 years later, and to me is like, it didn't really flow. But then you watch them back to back, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I can see the continuum of where it just goes. And I really like the movie. I really like the concept of, it's like, okay, half the planet is gone. So let's just show that, like, for example, when Hawkeye's in Japan, or Ronin is in Japan, and he's taking on what I assume is the Yakuza, the guy even says, like, we hurt people, and he gestures to, like, the empty streets. There's nobody there. But it does point out that at least the Yakuza and the cartels are still, well, maybe they've gotten more powerful. I don't know. That's not really touched upon, but that they are still using their criminal influence and everything.
I want to know about, well, not exactly Ronin. Yeah. Wait, that was his name? Ronin? That was the character he became?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see him getting a haircut because he's changing his identity. Why did Captain Marvel get a haircut?
That's the way she looks in the comic books.
It's like it's random.
Yeah, it's just to make her more comic book accurate. Because that's her haircut in the comic books.
I think in the original comic books it wasn't, though. I had one or two of them, or I'd seen a couple of them back in the day. That's the thing, is they're going back to comics from the 80s and 90s for a lot of this, and those get rebooted to where they start a new series, and then so whoever comes in says, oh, I'm going to draw this person this way.
Yeah, kind of update them, because the popular haircut right now, and for a couple years at least, is the one I have, this undercut, whatever length. It's very popular. As you can see, I have one, right? So I think when they were starting a new arc...
So popular that none of your friends have it.
Actually, Tim does, but his has been growing out. Lauren has one. I can continue. But anyways, point is... Oh, and actually, I went to go see before the world shut down, I went and saw a play of King Henry. It was Henry V, and like 95% of the cast all had undercuts. So very popular. So anyways, when they brought in whoever to write the new issue of Captain Marvel, updated her hairstyle just so that it would go.
Probably her outfit and all that too.
Yeah, probably her outfit too.
When Nick Fury hits the signal button to call her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his little
when he's getting snapped away.
His famous lines, or at least Samuel L. Jackson's famous lines.
His most favorite word.
Right.
That was funny.
Well, there was one thing. Oh yeah, there would have been something nice to see. Is like, so T'Challa is the king of Wakanda, and right. So you watch Black Panther, and you know how that works. There was 4 tribes. I don't remember if it's that T'Challa is king of all of them, or if he's just king of his one. Because they would let other people come out and challenge him from the other tribes, but I can't think of his name. He was the really
like
big
Buku
dude,
or something like
yeah,
that.
he comes out to challenge, but and he loses and he goes home. But then they go to his little corner of the world, and he's king there. So I'm guessing that means T'Challa is king of all 4 of the tribes.
I would think so. Each tribe has their own leader,
right,
but they're in servitude to the king.
Right. And then, so T'Challa gets snapped away. So that would have been something I would have liked to see. I don't know. I wouldn't say a civil war in Wakanda, but I would have liked to see how they kind of like figured out.
I would like to see who else they lost in Wakanda.
Yeah. Well, we kind of saw some of the, like we saw their soldiers, just kind of like nameless people, but like the big names were pretty much the royal family. T'Challa, Shuri, I think is how you say her name, and then I don't remember his mother's name.
Yeah.
But they were all gone. But like I was saying, I would like to see, like I said, not a civil war of the Wakandans fighting each other, but I would have liked to see it's like, oh, our king is gone. How do we, how do we get a ruler? How do we get a ruler in here and all of that?
Well, if you think about it, they could, it's like when half the people are snapped away, who's left would determine how they rebuild. Mm-hmm. Because if it's somebody that's got an agenda. Mm-hmm. that wants to take over, then he's got to recruit other like-minded Wakandans. Mm-hmm. Or if it's somebody who's a just and honest person, it's like, hey, we need everybody to help to rebuild what we lost.
Right, because in Endgame, it's implied that, see, I want to call her Michonne, but that's not her character's name. But it's implied that she just kind of takes over because she's reporting to Natasha. Mm-hmm. On the thing. So I guess, we just kind of take it at face value that it's like she's trusted by T'Challa, so she just kind of takes the leadership role temporarily, and because he comes back and everything.
Just like Valkyrie, mm-hmm. being she basically in charge of
Asgard.
New Asgard.
And then Thor officially making her queen.
Yeah.
I will say Wakanda doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Wakanda is like a cool fictional place, and I get it. But how it's based on the backbone of like vibranium doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like I'm okay with like, okay, the meteor hit that spot in Africa and it terraformed the land, and so like that's how you get the heart-shaped herb that gives Black Panther his power and everything. And
that's how they mine vibranium.
But is that how they mine vibranium? Because the heart-shaped herb can only be given to somebody of the royal family, otherwise it kills them. but is Black Panther strong enough, or the person who becomes Black Panther, are they strong enough to break apart vibranium? Because that's the thing that I don't understand is, so vibranium, the way that it works is it transfers energy out to the side, kinetic energy or all kinds of energy. Because normally when energy travels in a straight line, whatever it hits, it will keep moving in a straight line. But with vibranium, it hits and it gets spread out, and so it loses all of its impact. So how can they, with primitive tools or even advanced tools, chip away at vibranium and mine it to make it into their city? That's the part that I don't understand. And also him being insanely wealthy, because they sort the vibranium as being his source of income.
Right.
But if I had a mountain of gold in the forest and nobody knew about it, and I didn't sell it, and I didn't use it to buy stuff, and I didn't trade with it, and I didn't charge people to look at it because nobody knows I have it, how am I rich?
Yeah, but but they did do that. What they did was they parse it out in small pieces, and I don't know how valuable. I don't know what the dollar value is.
It's been calculated and I forget, but it's a lot.
Right, but they do give some of it. I mean, sell it out to other countries, and that's how they get their commerce to make the city as big and as advanced as it is.
I don't think they do, because Claw talks about it. He's like, they hoard this stuff. Like, Claw only got vibranium because he went in there and stole it, and he stole just a little bit. And everybody into present day believed that Wakanda was basically still just a third world village.
Maybe then they use it for commerce among themselves.
Maybe, like I said, that's like the stuff that Wakanda that makes sense to me is the science fiction portion. The other stuff of them being insanely rich and like all of that, technologically advanced, because they have vibranium doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't have to be that, though, because with any royal family, remember there's other tribes, they do give tribute.
Possibly, yeah.
That's an implied, because, with every royal family, the poor people always give them stuff.
Right.
Whatever they can afford.
Yeah.
And so they have their tax collectors. Now, supposedly they're more fair and just than what you see in other films. But,
right.
That's another way they support. And they have their commerce of selling and trading with other countries. Just maybe not the vibranium. Maybe they trade other things.
That just, I don't know. If someone could explain, like, somebody please just tell me. And don't cite that, vibranium is worth this much, that's why they're rich. Again, if I have a mountain of gold in the forest and nobody knows about it, how am I rich? But anyways, no, I don't know. Any other thoughts on the two movies? What's something that you really liked?
I liked a lot of things. I liked the final battle when all the portals open and everybody comes in. I still haven't seen Howard the Duck.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where he is.
He's there. It's a blink and you'll miss him, and you really have to look.
You have to know where to look.
Yeah.
Because I still haven't seen him.
Yeah, he's there. I might go and point him out to you. But
you'd have to freeze frame it or something.
Pretty much. Because it's very fast. You basically see the top of his head. And
I know what's interesting was that Peter Parker did a callback to when he was learning about his suit in Homecoming.
Yeah, the instant kill mode.
Yeah, the insta kill. He didn't want to use it, and then in there he's like engaged insta kill, and his eyes turn red, and his claws, something happened to him, his spider legs.
Right. Well, and I think it's a difference between he didn't want to kill two dudes in a car versus these alien creatures.
Right. But I thought that was cool. Because that's kind of, he's half Iron Spider, right, by that point.
Mm-hmm. The Iron Spider suit.
With that outfit that he has. But then all those legs get torn apart.
They get broken.
So that's interesting. All the fight stuff was cool. Still, not my favorite fight scene of all the Marvel movies, but it's up there.
Yeah, the final battle in Endgame is really good. There is something that I really like from Infinity War, and then the kind of a funny thing that goes along with it is T'Challa steps into the front of his people in Wakanda, and he opens the barrier to let the people come, and then he starts running, right, and then from behind Captain America,
and he outruns him.
Yeah, and because they're both basically super soldiers for the contents of not this argument, but of what I'm talking about, of how they're both have super strength, super speed, and everything, and they just go running and taking off and all of that. And then Bucky, who also has a super soldier serum, is like, "Now I'm gonna jog." He's just like, "I'm just gonna jog. I don't need to be out there." But to me, that is a really cool moment. And now I'm gonna steal one of my friend's favorite things, but whatever. She said that like her favorite thing, one of her favorite things, is when Captain America's first going to space at the very beginning of the movie, where they're gonna go find Thanos on the garden, as they called it, and they go through the jump, and it zooms in on Captain America's face, and you can see like space in his eyes and stuff. Yeah, which is also
his
really
pupils
cool.
like dilating, his eyebrows raised.
Because
it's like, oh,
because like a lot of it is he's basically just a kid from the 30s, 40s, and from Brooklyn, right?
Kid from Brooklyn, yeah.
And he's like, so he's getting used to like the technology of the future, and it's like, okay, I can like, for the most part, life is the same. I can get to that. Like, I can understand using a cell phone and like laptop and all this kind of fictional stuff.
Because he had his notebook.
Yeah, well, and then Tony's also his friend. So
right.
Tony's like, I like to think that Tony is like helping him off screen, but him going into space really harkens back to him being in the 40s and not even thinking that this stuff was possible. So that's really, really cool.
I like that. Drax had some great scenes. Dave Bautista is turned out to be way better of an actor than I ever thought he would be. Mm-hmm. We did see an early movie of his where he was he played a cop, but it was like really bad. Like the plot was really dumb, and his acting wasn't that great. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember exactly what it was. His brother or father or somebody got killed, and he was like investigating it or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that one movie, I was like, oh wow, Batista's bad. But then when Guardians came out, and he steals all his scenes.
Oh yeah, every time he's in the movie, or anytime he's in a scene
he's in, he just takes that over. He is so good. I really like that, and so I was happy. I'm happy with the way he, has progressed.
Yeah.
Rocket, we see him become a little more of an emotional character.
Oh yeah, he doesn't break down to the extent that Thor does, because he's a bit more focused. Like he wants.
No, but he does.
Yeah. Like
he cries when Groot gets snapped away.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm talking about him being like focused, like, because when he slaps Thor trying to get him to focus, he's like, hey, I've lost the only family I have, which is the first time that he's kind of
acknowledged his family.
Yeah, because he's still like in Infinity War, he's still being snarky and mean to Quill, but then after they're all gone and he's on Asgard and he's like
alone.
Yeah, he's like, I've lost my only family.
Yeah, like I said, he's developed into more of an emotional character. That running joke is so funny though that they just keep calling him a rabbit.
Yeah, rabbit.
Apparently, there's no rabbits on Asgard.
Raccoons
on Asgard because they think he's a rabbit.
Now, talking about him being an emotional character, I don't know if you really notice it, but it's at the beginning of the film.
Which one?
Of Endgame, and Tony is off the spaceship, and Nebula's sitting there, and Rocket he comes over and he sits, and like, I think he puts his paw on her hand, and then she turns it over, and then like they start holding hands.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, got you in the feels.
Yeah, but because it's a side of Rocket that you don't see, because even in Guardians 2, when Yondu is kind of confronting him about like, oh, I know what kind of charade you're putting on and all of this, and he's like, because I'm the same way and everything. But and then of course, Yondu sacrifices himself for Peter. Just that the emotions that you see, because even people who are stubborn and like that, you can see them break down throughout these films.
As far as the future goes, I still think they'll make another Avengers movie.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's talks that...
But they've said that they weren't, that was going to be the last one. That was, at the time.
Yeah.
The Russos and
Kevin Feige
have said that it's it. But you still have a team.
They also said that Avengers Endgame wasn't called Avengers Endgame, so...
Well, no, it was just Infinity War 1 and 2.
Right, but when they were teasing the name of the movie of Infinity Part 2, and they said, "Oh, it's a character has said the name of the movie in a previous movie," and a lot of people went, "Oh, Doctor Strange said Endgame. Is it Endgame?" And they're like, "No, the movie's not called Avengers Endgame."
Well, and I guess it was too easy, but also Tony Stark said it too.
Yeah.
He said, "That's it. We're in the end game."
Yeah, it's Thanos' end game. But
I mean, it's mentioned multiple times.
Yeah. So, but they said
anyway. Who do we have left? We have
all the females.
All the females. But you're gonna put Valkyrie. It's not really an Avenger.
Well, she is now.
No, she's Queen of New Asgard, and she can be in the Thor universe. We have what is she called? Ironheart? Is that
Rescue?
Or Rescue? That's
Pepper Potts.
Pepper. She has to be an Avenger because her husband was
right.
So you got her. You got who?
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
You've got. I wanted to say Quicksilver so bad, but he's
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right.
That's 4.
Yeah, you've still got
Hulk.
Yeah, you've still got Hulk. You still got Rhodey as War Machine.
Right.
You still have Sam as Captain America.
And possibly Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and Bucky as White Wolf or Winter... I thought they were changing his name to White Wolf, but he's still called Winter Soldier.
They just did that as a way to drop the name.
Yeah.
And Black Panther.
And Black Panther.
So, I mean, basically, and if there's got to be somebody that we're forgetting. Basically, there's a 10-person team.
Mm-hmm.
So what they can do now, because we know what's going to happen in Disney Plus. See, that's another thing is Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to be together.
Mm-hmm.
It means they're going to have their own adventures, but they could still go back and be in an Avengers movie.
Oh yeah.
Matter of fact, they could take like a core of 4 to 6 Avengers, and then everybody else that we know is an Avenger can like still show up when they need to,
right,
and then exit back out and go back to their own movies, their own universes. Because Spider-Man, that's who
yes,
because he's an official Avenger. We know that.
Oh, see, I can see there's not any more Avengers movies, but in the comic books they're called the New Avengers, right?
There's also the West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, so there's no Avengers movies, it's the New Avengers movies.
True. Just like the new Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah. But I don't bring up Scoob, man. I'm still mad about Matthew Lillard, Brett.
Yeah, so there's, what else is, well, I don't know if you want to save that for another.
What?
About all the new Disney Plus Marvel stuff that's coming.
No.
Let's table that. But I was just saying, they can still make Avengers movies even without Iron Man and even without Captain America.
I saw this thing. It was a fan-made trailer, but somebody brought this up that it would be a great movie taking the character of Ironheart, which is not related to Tony. She is a girl from MIT, and she builds the suit. She builds the Iron Man suit, but they just use the name Ironheart, but it's Morgan, and it's like a couple years later. She's older, and it's like,
well, she did have to be more than a couple years later.
Yeah.
She's like 5.
Yeah, well, several years later, but it's like the fan made trailer. It's like it shows Tony like doing the snap, taking them all out, and then there's like this narration. It's like, years ago, my father laid down his life for the safety of the world and everything, and it's like, and now it's my time. My name is Morgan Stark, but you can call me Ironheart. And like you hear the pounding of the metal, like she's building something.
Well, it'd be interesting for her to, if they made a movie with Ironheart with Rescue be in it too, with her,
I would think so.
her mother. Like I was saying, there's possibilities to make more Avengers type movies. It just depends on who wants to stick around and be in them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, they have talked about solo movies for the different Avengers, and everybody's still waiting for their Hulk movie.
Yeah.
I think Ruffalo's been off and on about it. He says he would do it. We don't need to do it because Ragnarok's kind of his solo movie. And I was like, no.
Yeah, like give him because he's the only character with a solo movie that didn't get a sequel, right? So a dedicated sequel, I should say.
I would say the new. Even though they're saying that the 2008 movie is part of the MCU.
Yeah.
I still don't see that, but I want Ruffalo to have his own movie as Hulk, and that's when he was the one like he does, he doesn't, he does, he doesn't. Ragnarok was his solo movie, so we get what we wanted. It's like, no, we didn't.
Yeah, because he was with Thor.
But what I was going to say is also, and we know that there's going to be a Black Widow movie this fall, but going back, I was like, who else would you like to see? How about could Don Cheadle carry a War Machine movie?
I think so. I think, why not?
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Let him do War Machine as a solo.
Yeah. And he could have, everybody loves a team up, so we throw in a couple of other lesser known guys in there. So I think a War Machine movie could be, and why it's not in development.
Right. I would like to go see a War Machine movie.
I would get with that.
I like that. I like, although this isn't in the Avengers films, but Tony and Rhodey, how they kind of go back and forth, especially in Iron Man 3. Oh, I'll get to that too. Is when there's like, oh, we need to put the big gun up here, and they both start walking. Tony's like, hold on, just because you have a big gun doesn't mean you are a big gun. But that was another callback, is in Endgame at Tony's funeral, that's panning over all the people who are there, and then there's just this random kid, and like, who's that guy? And then you're like, oh, that's the kid from Iron Man 3, these years later.
Ty Simpkins is the actor's name.
Yeah. So him coming all the way back.
But I didn't recognize him either because it's been how many years?
And he was like 12.
Oh, see, that's another thing. Okay, when did Iron Man 3 come out?
I don't know.
14, say?
Maybe.
Okay, and it's only like 6 years later?
Mm-hmm.
How is that kid, it's the same thing with Cassie. How are they
because they are also in 2023. So you tack on the years from their last movie appearance, and then you add 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So
how is Cassie like 5 and now she's 18?
She should be like 16 at the most.
That's stretching it.
Yeah.
Because she looks like she's 5 or 6
in the first one.
In Ant-Man, and Wasp was only 2 years later.
2 years later.
So she's 7 to 8.
Right.
8 and 5 is only 13.
Right.
But now she looks like she's 18 in Endgame, and the same with
the kid.
The kid was
12, probably.
12. Well, okay, so then that one does make a little bit more sense.
Because he would be 18, 19.
Was he 12 though?
I don't know.
No, he's like Well,
10, 11. He's right in that 10, 11, 12 area.
Yeah.
Because he's old enough that he can be on his own and like not freak out. He can function himself, and he lives in his garage, and he puts together a potato cannon and everything. So 10 to 12 in that range.
And then 5 would make him 17.
Right, and then plus however many years between Iron Man 3 and Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
So he's probably in it. That character should be in his 20s.
So he was probably age appropriate, but I don't think that Cassie was age appropriate. But what was we were talking about the funeral and all the characters. May was there with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't stand near Happy.
No, Happy was with Morgan.
Yeah. Oh, what happened? They were together.
Well, remember they said it was a summer fling, so
she did.
Yeah, well,
he didn't.
Right. So perhaps they didn't get together until afterwards, because there's still all kinds of emotion. She just got snapped back into existence. I don't think she's ready for a.
Was she though? Was she gone?
Mm-hmm. Because she talks about it in Far From Home when she says, "When I blipped back to my apartment, they thought I was a ghost. Somebody thought I was a mistress. All that kind of stuff." So she just got back into existence. So she's probably not looking for anybody. But
could they make Iron Man 4?
And it would just
with RDJ.
Oh well, I guess, but it would have to be a prequel, kind of like.
No, it can't be.
Well, not a prequel to.
That's what I was going to say. It can't be a prequel because we already know from the beginning, and if you go cast him before that, they would have to use a different actor.
No, I'm sorry. I just meant before.
It would have
Endgame.
to be. Yeah, it would have to be a storyline that needs to be explored, and I don't know if there is one.
There's 5 years of time.
Well, that's true.
There's that 5 years that they could technically slip in one or two movies if they wanted, because allegedly that's when Black Widow takes place or after Endgame. I don't know.
Well, it can't take place after Endgame. She's dead.
Is she?
But that was an issue that we had.
Oh yeah, them putting the stones back.
Yeah, if they put the Soul Stone back, then Natasha should technically be alive,
right? Shouldn't she? Maybe she is, and that's what they'll explore.
But what's his name said, no, it can't be undone. But it's like, well, yeah.
But if you put the stone back,
it never happened.
Then you never exchange the souls.
Right.
Yeah. But then that would make Gamora alive too.
Yep.
Well, no, that wouldn't make Gamora alive because Thanos would still go and exchange. Time travel's weird. But at least Natasha, and maybe that's what they'll bring up in Black Widow if it takes place after.
It takes place like right after she joins the Avengers.
No, because if you look at her hair, it's
but her hair changes all the time.
No, but it's the same as it is in Endgame.
No, it's not blonde.
Well, it's blonde with the red roots coming out. Because in Infinity War is when she dyes her hair blonde, or the time between Infinity War or the last movie, Civil War and Infinity War, she dyes her hair blonde to go incognito. And then in Endgame, 5 years later, her red roots are growing out and it's tinged with blonde. And in the Black Widow trailer, she's tinged with blonde.
We got a little bit of time. Well, let's see if we can look it up and see if we can get like when it takes place.
Oh, well, I can try that. But
because I heard it's like right after she joins the Avengers because she still doesn't trust them or something, and that's why she goes home. Now, what's really cool is also Agent Carter was a good show, and I don't know why they let it go. I don't know. They only gave it 2 years, 2 seasons, because Agent Carter explored the origins of the Black Widow program. Mm-hmm. Which was cool because there was that character. Her name was Dottie. They called her Dot for short, and then she's mentioned somewhere else in some of the movies. Mm-hmm. So it's like that was cool. I like when they tie everything together, and it's like something you didn't know. Like, oh wow, that goes with this. That's cool because she talks about the Black Widow program and what they do to the girls. And then in Agent Carter, they actually show it.
So according to Wikipedia, it says it takes place after Civil War while she's on the
That's
run.
right.
But then why would her hair be like that? That doesn't make any sense. But we would have to. That's according to Wikipedia, and we would have to see the movie to.
In November. That's what's coming out.
Is that when it's coming out? November.
Yep. I think it's the first.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can do a little shorter episode today. So, closing thoughts on.
They were both good, both great. They tied it together. Now, you got me a Father's Day present. I appreciate that.
Right.
So Christmas, there'll be the 23 movie box set.
Yeah, you better cough that up to me,
the
bro.
The 23 movie box set, all on Blu-rays in a big-ass suitcase.
It's already on my wish list. So, actually, yeah, I do have a final thought. Both movies end similarly. Infinity War and Endgame. There's a huge war. There's that huge battle. And then there's the snap that ends the movie, basically. Well, ends the battle, I should say. But in Infinity War, it's the bad guys that come out on top with Thanos snapping his fingers. And in Endgame, it's Tony and the good guys come out on top. Okay, so that was going to be my final thought of how they're both very similar in that, but actually Thanos as like a great villain, as a complex thinking, feeling, like in Infinity War when he's trying to get the Tesseract from Loki. He's like, oh, I can kill Thor, or you can give me the Tesseract. And, he's like, that's going to work. And then Loki's like, yeah, kill him. And you see Thanos like, whoa, he wasn't expecting that. But he's like, he's like, all right, we're going to do it. And then, of course, Loki breaks, and he's like, okay, stop.
Also, I thought of Thanos' complexity, too, is he's highly intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
He's highly intelligent.
Because he knows who Stark is. He knows the Avengers.
Well, I was thinking of when he has Ebony Maw doing all the stuff with what's her name?
Nebula.
Get me her files, access this, like dang, he knows computer jargon.
Yeah. Well, and then some other things too is like, so his mission, his singular goal is to erase half the life in the universe so that the other half can thrive. And then he knows, okay, I need the Infinity Stones to do so. And he gets them, and he does it, and then how cool, how badass is that he destroys the stones because they're just temptation for him.
To do whatever he wants.
To do whatever he wants. He's like, but I've completed my goal. These are just temptation, and he destroys them.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, that's intense, dude. That's so
And then
cool.
I brought up the fact that his plot is the same as in Ghost Protocol from Mission Impossible. The guy that was called codename Cobalt, his idea was to blow up the world with a nuclear bomb or cause a nuclear war, so that way the Earth would, so many people are going to die, basically half, and then the world can rebuild itself. And then when he launches his nuclear strike, he comes out and he says, "May there be peace on Earth." And it's like, yeah, peace through blowing up half the world.
Oh, yeah.
That was just an interesting that those characters had a similar plot thing going on.
I think Thanos is definitely my favorite villain, like number one.
That the Avengers have faced?
No, that just like in villain history of all time. Just because horror movies aren't a good source to point to at villains, but like Thanos is genuinely surprised that Loki is like, yeah, go ahead and kill Thor. It's like, I don't care. Of course he does, but he's like, I don't
Thanos'
care. Do it.
Knowledge is that they're brothers, so he assumes they have a strong bond.
But then when Loki's like, kill him, he's like, you see him taken back. He surprised.
Says, what does he say? He goes, "Oh, let the killing begin."
Yeah, he's like, he says, because Thanos is like, I assume you have a preference, and Loki's like, I do. Kill away. And you can just see him. He's shocked. He cries when he has to kill Gamora. because he doesn't want to do it.
He just wants that stone.
Yeah, but he's like, I ignored my destiny. I can't do it again. Like, versus, say, Aaron Cross, who we, again, agreed was a good villain, but just like, it was like, Darren Cross. Sorry, not Aaron Cross. Just randomly killing people left and right.
Because that's Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner's character in the Bourne
Legacy.
Yeah, sorry.
No, but also, I had a thought, and you derailed my train with your Aaron Cross thing.
Sorry.
Speaking of Aaron, Ross Marquand.
Yeah, we really like The Walking Dead. As Red Skull, that's interesting, because when I saw it, I didn't even know that was him, because I was like, oh, Hugo Weaving's back, cool, and then it's like, nope,
because he had the accent and he had everything.
Yeah, he's damn near identical.
And then it was Ross Marquand that told us.
Yeah, he's like, no, it was me.
On Talking Dead, Chris Hardwick prodded him to, you're going to tell people, oh yeah, I was the Red Skull.
Which is crazy. And I don't know. I was like, was there just his Hugo Weaving's schedule just conflicted or something?
That's mostly what happens when they just don't come back.
Couldn't get him, because I'm sure he loved playing Red Skull. Mm-hmm. I can't think of the guy's name, but he played Justin Hammer. Chris Rockwell.
It's not Chris, but it's Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, because he really enjoyed playing Justin Hammer, because for Hail to the King, they flew him out so that he can do his lines really fast, and then he went back to doing whatever he was doing. So I assume it's like a great like job to work for Disney Marvel. You enjoy it so much. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe just Hugo Weaving was
just filming something else.
Yeah.
And Marquand was on a break from Walking Dead.
And it's like, yeah, why not? Come and do this.
Okay, so that's about all we have for this episode. When are we getting our Instagram up? When I get back?
Yeah, probably when you get back.
Okay.
I'll be working on that so that you guys can follow us on Instagram if you like. Stay tuned for the name. We'll get the announcements.
Also, please don't forget, below, wherever they're at on your computer screen, there's your like, there's your bell to enable notifications.
And the subscribe.
And then also comment. We want to see comments. I can shout out my buddy Kevin and my stepdaughter Flora. My goddaughter Flora. My daughter Jessica, who does the graphics. And Aslan Lion, whoever she is, has still not told me on Facebook who the hell she is, but she comments on these things. So, matter of fact, didn't you say she commented on number 7?
She did, yeah. A couple days ago.
So, if you want to get a shout out, leave us a comment and tell us what you think. Are we stupid? Are we funny?
Are we stupid funny?
Are we funny stupid?
Yeah.
Who knows what we are?
He's funny looking, I know that much.
Yeah, and guess whose son you are?
Yeah, I know, unfortunately. All right, well, anyways, that's all for us. And we look forward to howling with you next time. I'm the Wolf.
I'm Daddy-O. We're out.